Hey everyone, my name is Gonzalo and I built this project called Paymaster Pools, which aims to improve the current user experience while using Ethereum. Essentially, it solves the pain from having tokens in your wallet but not being able to do anything with them because of the lack of native currency, since you're required to pay for your transactions only in Ether, which honestly is really frustrating. Instead, by using Paymaster pools, users can pay for the transaction fees in any token they want, thanks to leveraging ERC-4037 for account abstraction, plus a new special Paymaster that I'm calling the Uniswap Paymaster. But wait, isn't that something that Paymasters do already? The main issue with the Paymasters available today is that most of them are centralized and managed by a third party, which strongly limits the variety of tokens that they can support. And maybe you want to pay with a token that they are not supporting and not willing to support, and then you run out of options. The big difference between this Paymaster and any other that exists today is that the liquidity for the transactions will not come from a centralized third party. Instead, it will come from what I call Paymaster pools, which are essentially any already working pool in Uniswap that is confirmed by Ether and a given token to be used for paying the transactions. So all you require to pay for your transaction in, let's say, USDT will be just a pool in Uniswap of Ether and USDT. That's mainly why I'm proposing Paymaster pools as an alternative, where anyone can provide liquidity to sponsor other user transactions while making a profit proportionally to the liquidity provider. So how does it work? First, we will need to find a pool in Uniswap of Ether and the token that we want to pay with, for which we can utilize a specialized router to find the pool that offers the lowest cost for sponsoring with that token. And in case that there is no single pool supporting that token yet, we can create a pool actually and be the first to offer it. So now moving into the code to see it in action, the first thing that we will see that needs to happen is that a liquidity provider, anyone, has to deposit Ether into the Paymaster, and then he will receive ERC20 shares in exchange that can later be redeemed for that underlying Ether and also any other profit made by the sponsoring transactions of this contract. So once that happens, something that must be said about the 4037 is that it only works with smart contract accounts. So we have two options. One is to come with a pre-deployed smart contract account and use that, or the other is to just come with your common EOA and use the new 7702 EIP to convert it on the fly into a smart contract account. So I'm doing this here with these three lines of code, and essentially I'm bringing this smart contract account code into my EOA, so it has just enough what it needs to be able to work in the 4037. The next step is that we are going to sign a permit to signature off chain. So this is gasless. It doesn't cost any gas. Also doing the delegation doesn't cost any gas. But this allows the paymaster to take the tokens that we are going to pay with without having to do any on-chain transaction and actually having to pay Ether. So once I do this permit, I sign it, and then I build the user OP, which is the transaction object that we are going to send to the network. Then we sign it, I send it, then it gets picked by a bundler, which is who takes all of these user operations together and submit them to the entry point. And once that happens, the transaction gets processed, right? So what we have in here is that the paymaster is gonna perform a swap from the token that the user wants to pay with to the Ether required to pay for his transaction actually. So essentially the paymaster is guaranteed that he will always get paid. So the liquidity providers participating here may be secure that the paymaster is never gonna run out of funds. Just to prove that it works, I'm gonna run a full test on a fresh liquidity pool that I'm doing with Ether and a custom token that is being deployed over here. So it is this entire part. We are gonna run it and we will see that it will pass. So perfect. Now I'm bringing this user operation with the token. Another optional component included into the project, although not required for this to work at all, is the asymmetric fee hook, which may be really useful for pools wanting to specialize into gas sponsoring by allowing to change the fee from the pool depending on the direction of the swap. So for example, this pool could lower the cost to swap from token to Ether, but not in the other direction. So in that way, it will attract a lot of more people willing to use the pool for gas sponsoring, probably increasing the volume and the competitiveness of this pool against others. Last, but no less important, consider that the same liquidity being provided today in Uniswap is not only going to be used for swaps, but also for sponsoring transactions in the entire network. So probably the yields will be increased for liquidity providers. The same capital is now providing more service to the market, allowing people to pay for transactions in any token. Thank you.